All right, we're here at the Battle Spirit Saga launch event. We have our second place winner right here, Alex Blandin, with their deck. Tell me about your deck.
So this is, it's Terrasaur's aggro, or as I like to call it, unemployed aggro.
Yeah.
And the name really fits because, one, I'm unemployed, and a lot of what this deck does is they're just beefy guys that don't really have effects, or they're unemployed. They're they're big guys and they're free. They're all cheap, they're free, just like any regular unemployed person.
But you can't underestimate them either, right?
Yes, they are very powerful. And this is, I don't want to say unique, but it's different than a lot of the Terrasaur decks you'll see floating around prior to this point. I'm guessing this list will become the standard because we had 5 teammates in Top Cut and then 3 other peoples who were friends of teammates that also got the deck. So we had, I think, 8 people total in Top Cut with our exact list.
Sure.
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Out of 400, that's really good.
Yeah, not too shabby.
So all right, let's see the list then.
So let's get into it. So I'll start you off with the 1-drops of the freebies. So we've got item
Overraptor. Yep, Overraptor. Yep.
Yeah, and then we got Rain Needle. We have a different name for him, but
sure. PG.
So yeah, we'll keep it PG. So these are just 1-drops. You're trying to go fast. 1-drops are the backbone of any deck. This is really important for Giganorex too because he does double discount and he gets very big. This is the better one of the two. This is certainly the more important. But you just want a lot of 1-drops. There are a lot of decks where you want your opening to be like Scorched Battlefield, and then the follow-up is 2 1-drops, or a 1-drop and a 3-drop, or a 1-drop and a 2-drop. Any combination where you can get 2 guys down and still put 2 cores on the Scorched Battlefield, so you can draw 2 cards a lot of the time, especially if your opponent starts 2 Nexus. So you just need all the 1-drops you can get in here. I don't play Igwa Knife because he doesn't have a reduction, and if I'm being real, he just sucks.
Sure.
On to the next. We've got 3 Dragron Trooper, and I apologize if I mispronounce the names. I don't know the names of all these cards. So we got 3 of him, just another freebie. He's actually very big, especially when you get Scorched Battlefield down. 2 core, he's cheap, he's big. 2 cores on the attack, he's a 5k naturally. Scorched Battlefield, he's 6k. He actually just beats, he beats through a lot of stuff, but the most important thing is he's free. That's really what we're after here. He's free, he's big, he does exactly what the deck wants. He's very good at playing around Burning Force on the attack, which is nice, especially when you have Scorched Battlefield. So, I mean, again, another solid creature, no regrets there. 2 Flamefish. So we had a lot of discussions. A lot of people have played the meta very slow up to this point, and we had a lot of discussions. Are we the idiots?
Yeah.
Are we wrong? I don't know. So we said no. There's no way. There has to be aggro at this event. So I said, okay, well, what if we run in the mirror too? We have to play Flamefish. Flamefish underperformed. He sucked, and I played between Top and Swiss. I think I played 8 white decks, and that's a lot. I played 13 rounds. So. This guy came out almost every single time. He was very much not good, but I still think he's acceptable if you think aggro is going to be pretty heavy.
Would it be instead that you have him in the sideboard and you side him in?
Yeah, some of us did side him. Some of us did put him in the side, and we're lighter on the fish in the main. He came out most of the time. I'll have to go back to the drawing board and think about it more, but he's probably, if people start playing this deck, he gets a little bit better. So if this becomes more meta, I think you'll want to keep him in as a 2 of, maybe even bump him to a 3. So next up, we've got Dillafosa. He is the premier unemployed boy. He is the straight, like that guy in the episode of South Park that's just playing WoW like that. He's big. He beaks through the white decks. He gets over his arch nemesis Pegasion, and that's the big part of him, is he goes to 8, Pegasion goes to 7, and he just rams right through. You really just need him. He's a beatdown creature. That's all there is to it. He's not sexy. He's not doing anything special. He has one job, and it's to smash face. The blocking, not being able to block, doesn't really matter unless you're in an aggro mirror. Then he's like just a creature you absolutely never want to see. But again, he's very cheap. He gets as cheap as 1. He bashes through the white decks. He's like even acceptable versus purple. He's just another great creature. And again, he is an Emperor Beast, and that's what we need. We just need Terrasaur's and Emperor Beast. That's a very big part of it. 3 Dino Man. This guy's ruling change actually made our deck go from like being really good to just like unbeatable. Because we didn't have Giganorex in the main originally. We were playing for almost a month with no Giganorex in the main. He was only in the side because we didn't have enough Emperor Beast dinosaurs. So when they changed the ruling on this, it changed everything for us. This guy's just big. He's beefy. Again, he's another one of those premier unemployed creatures.
Sure. But this one's a loner unemployed creature, right?
Yes, he is. So the thing is, 2 wide is very common in our deck. We're not really trying to 5 wide most of the time. That's not a common strategy you see. We're usually 2 to 3 creatures deep most of the time. So he is very good, especially Scorched Battlefield. He's a 7. He's tying with Pegasion at max counters. He's beaten out just about everything else you can see. You can also order your attacks in such a way so that like they block the first thing, now you're down to 2, and now he's big again. 2 of him's a real threat. 2 6Ks is nothing to sneeze at. So he's just solid. He's not a 4 of because you don't want to see too many of him. He does he is kind of poo-poo when there's
the board's already
wide. The board
it
needs to be wide. He's also not free, so. All right, I know I said this twice already, but this is the real unemployed.
Okay.
This guy is the juice. This guy is crazy. Bearded Eagle, man, his stats are so overtuned. This guy is everything. So he's free, which is big. None of your other 3 drops are free. He gets really big. For just 2, he's a 5K.
Yeah.
So that's beating out just about everything in purple at level 1 and 2. That's beating out a good chunk of white at level 1 and some things at 2. So he gets over Scion at 2 at level 2. He ties Scion at the highest level for less cores, and if you Scorched Battlefield, he's beating him out. He's free. He's an Emperor Beast. This guy is crazy good. Even if you don't like Dino Man, you don't like Dilophosa, he has to be there without question. He's just crazy. 2 Nebula Dragon Andromeda. Honestly, we were targeting purple a lot of what we were doing. I mean, we made our main deck better against white. We recognized very late in the game that purple is less about the cards you play and more about how you play. However, we didn't want depths to ever stick, so we played 2 of this card in the main. This card underperformed for me, but I only played 1 purple deck. I'm sure he's great otherwise. A lot of our teammates sided an extra. I didn't. Honestly, he underperformed, but he's a great card either way. I cut usually 1 of them most games. I'm going to be real though. I think I only cast him once in this entire tournament. It killed the depths when I was playing against Espira. That was the only time I cast him the entire tournament. So I'd probably keep him in there still, but if purple fell out of favor, I might rethink his position in the deck. And now for the man himself, it's Jurassic King Giganorex. So you're probably wondering why there's 3.
Yeah.
I fucked up. We talked about putting 4. I think half the team went to 4. I said, no, you know what? I'll keep him at 3. We're going to see a lot of purple. This guy actually comes out versus purple because purple, you just want the cheapest things possible to keep as many cores as possible on the board.
Yeah.
And he's expensive, so he comes out versus purple. Unfortunately, I should have just bit the bullet, probably cut one of these or cut something else, and just said I'm putting the 4th Gigano in because there's a 4th in the side and he comes in every single game.
Yeah.
I played only white. This would go to 4 100% if I could redo this tournament again. He's the absolute all-star. This is how you slay out white. Just any hand you open with Giganorex, you keep. I mean, I keep just about every hand anyways. If you guys watch the final match, you'll probably wonder why I kept that hand. I'm so stubborn about my mulls. I'm by no exaggeration probably mulling 2% of hands, and that's not like a fictional number. That is just about my mull percentage. I mulled not a single time in either day. I never mulled once. Do not mull. That's the best advice I can give to any new players. Never, ever, ever mull with this deck. So this
that card advantage is important.
Yes, this guy was the all-star of the deck. Absolutely spectacular. Can't say enough good things about him. Your plan against white is get him down as early as possible, even if you have to use like your ray needles, your ray needles as a what do they call it? Mana ramp, like just to get him out and then sack him. You don't care. Against white, it's not about card advantage. It's about take the board early. Do not let them get control of the board. Put them in what I call the funnel, which is where they play creature, you take it. They are limited to playing 1 creature a turn, so you just keep taking the creature over and over and over and over again. And if it's something like Elk, you swing around it. So he gets backed up by his Raptors or his Eagles or whatever, and they swing. He locks down the other thing, and then you swing around him. So like I said, he'd go to 4. 4 Scorched Battlefield, juice. This guy's great. This is the premier Nexus you want to start. Ideally, your turn 1 against any control deck wants to look like this. It's just this, and then you want to play 2 creatures. You need a combination of a 1-drop and a 3-drop or a 1-drop and a 2-drop to have 2 cores on this and be able to attack with 2 guys. You want to just try to go 2 wide, turn 2, draw 2 cards, gas up. Some decks you want to go faster against, but even then, this provides a permanent discount. You need just 1 Nexus on the board to make your deck really pop because you need a permanent discount. So this ultimately, I think this card's awesome. The buff is probably even more relevant than the draw is a lot of the time. It lets you play around Burning Force so smoothly.
Yeah.
It's just this card is incredible. I think some people are valuing Volcanic Canyon higher, but I think this card's better. This card's crazy. Okay, Volcanic Canyon. Yeah, okay, I know. It's
just 2 more copies of the other guy.
Yeah,
because he can't run 6.
Right, I just badmouth. You want Nexuses. This one's actually better, I think, versus White, because White, it's less, like I said, it's less about card advantage and more about finding the cards that you want. Now, this one's very good because it lets you out-muscle White's creature, but the relevant text is his first line.
Not the second one, yeah.
Yeah, not so much the draw cards. This one's nice against White, and I do side a 3rd one versus White because you're just trying to find Giganorex. Like, just find Giganorex, find the answers. Find Durham Dyna in game 2, but we'll talk about that in a sec. So again, another permanent reduction. It's great versus purple too. Purple, you want to establish a lot of Nexuses because they're clearing your board every turn. So you want to just be able to get your next wave of dudes out for as cheap as possible, so you keep as many cores on the board, so you can just protect against the core stuff. Again, great card. Where do I start? Star Blessed Straw. I literally just talked to the designers of this game. I told them if I could ban 1 card in set 1, it's this card. And here's why. Star Blessed Straw creates this extremely unfair condition where your opponent, if they are in purple or yellow, they can't play the game pretty much without playing on wind summons.
Yeah.
Especially purple. Purple especially cannot play the game. There is nothing they can do to you when you see this card. Our win condition versus purple was literally just open this card and you win. They can't do anything. They're not fast enough.
No.
Even if they're curse aggro, they still have to play some amount of wind summons. You just get them, draw 4, it's over. You're so far ahead in card advantage, you just drown them out. You just keep throwing dudes at them. You don't care what happens. If you see this, you can even 4 or 5 wide them early, because if they curse dragon, you just go, okay, I'll draw a new hand.
Draw 4, yeah.
New hand for this.
Yeah,
Exactly. So this is a card that creates a situation where it is very unfun to play decks like purple.
Yeah, I played purple, and it's just like whenever they said, I'm like, you get 4 cards for free. Like I'm like, I can't outvalue
It's
that.
demoralizing. I think this card should actually be banned. I'm like, I know they're trying to keep wind summons in check with all these wind summons things, but this card is just too over the top. Even for 4 mana, who cares? Just draw 4 cards. Like the white decks were playing it. I think this card is just. I think maybe the first mode should have been draw 1. If this
draw
was draw
1,
3,
draw
I
3,
might feel
a
little bit better about it. But
4 is a lot.
Yeah, this card was crazy. Another all-star. Burning Force actually didn't do much for me today because I played all white decks and it's not great versus white. However, would never play less than 4. Any of those red decks you see playing less than 4, I'll just be blatant about it. I'll be blunt. I think they're wrong. Like, this card's crazy. Nexus is one of the best cards in the game. The only thing that I think keeps it in check is that all the Nexus removal that's running around. Everybody's so high on Burning Force that it's hard to get away with depths.
Yeah.
So I think you have to have 4 of this. This card's great. Even though it didn't see as much play as I would have liked, it's only because I played so much white, and it doesn't do as much versus white. I still keep it in because you do want to still kill that reduction Nexus. I mean, it's a very, very, very powerful card. I think unless they make something superior to this, you'll see this card
in every deck. Yeah.
This has to be somewhere in your 60 or 70, however many you play. This has to be somewhere between your main and side. No questions asked. Some number of it has to be somewhere. 3 Volcanic Breaks. Great. I see a lot of people not playing this card. Guys, this card's great. So many unsuspecting white decks. They try to run down their Odin. They try to run down their Elk, not fully leveled. They try to get them in quick, and you bust them up really nice.
Yeah.
It's even great against Nova. If they try to run out, like let's say they don't have the combo, they try to run out their dragon, they can't max level him, he's 6k at level 2, you bust him up. And it's even great just as a removal piece to get bigger guys out of the way blocking. It's fine versus purple. We were between 2 and 3, but I was very stubborn about 3, and I'm glad. This guy was great. Very happy with Volcanic Break. Highly recommend. What do I need to say? Like, do we need to talk about it?
No,
I mean,
we can go to Sideboard.
Yeah. 4 Absolute Ice Shield. It's like the best card in the game. Play 4 of it in your deck. You're crazy if you don't. I don't really need to discuss it. Like, it's even though against the white decks they don't aggro you much. Like when they're ready to turn the table against you, what is it, Durham Dyna, you actually need this because when they see Durham Dyna, their instinct is, I have to start rushing. So you, even against white, it has some value. You can even stop like an elk proc if you want.
For sure,
so
for sure.
It's just a, I mean,
it's a good card, yeah.
Right.
Anyone who's not running a 4 just doesn't have 4 copies of it.
Yeah. So let's start with the easy stuff. Another Rex.
Yeah.
Like I said, guys, I fucked up. What can I say? It was supposed to be in the main. Volcanic Canyon. So this is for when you play white or purple. I know what you're saying. Alex, why isn't this the main yet? It's all white and purple. Well, we thought we were going to see aggro decks, so I didn't put this in the main because you don't want this versus aggro. But it comes in versus purple because you just want Nexuses to stick down and keep your reductions cheap. So you want to get Nexuses in early. It comes down versus white because, like I said, you're just trying to filter and find the cards that mattered. So that card probably could have been in the main if I knew what I was going to play against. Let's talk about the All-Star.
All right, do it.
Durham Dyna, or as we like to call him, Dirk Cousins, because he never shows up in prime time. It's a little football reference if, for those of you NFL fans. So this was an early tech that I had in there early in the list. Durham Dyna was actually in the main at one point. He got cut to make space for Giganorexes. I go back and forth because the one of we didn't see consistently enough. So this is for white. This is crazy versus white because when you have this in your opener, it's in your deck, you just do it. You don't care about cards, you just run at them as hard as you can, and you try to put them to 1, and once they're at 1, the only thing that stops this card in your standard white deck is going to be Dream Bomb, as you saw in finals. And if your opponent sees 3 of them, you're in the top 10, you're going to lose. But the upside is that chances are they're going to be so far behind, especially if you had the Absolute Ice Shields like I discussed before. You're going to try. They're going to go Dream Bomb. You have Absolute Ice Shield because they're going to crack everything at you. You're going to try again. You need exactly 9 cores to be able to do this. So you need 7 first cost, and then the Soul Core, and then a core to maintain him. He goes in. At level 3, there's just about nothing that kills him except Core Theft, but again, he's just for white. So you can just throw everything at them, and he just breaks through the defenses. He even stops Elk proc, provided they don't have Fog. I mean, this guy just does everything. He was the all-star sideboard card. Again, if I didn't have to put the 4th Rex in, he'd probably be the next guy to go in. It's just very hard to find space. But, I mean, this guy's crazy. I also expect to see him in a lot of decks, aggro decks coming up. He's just like, think of it this way. If there's a card that said, pay 9 mana, deal 1 damage to your opponent in an aggro deck, you probably play
You'd run it, 100%.
There's not any outs to him right now, so he's an all-star. 2 suppression, womp, womp, womp. There was no aggro decks. This would have been probably good if there was aggro decks. You stick this on a Giganorex, it's huge. It can even trade with their Giganorex on the attack, provided they don't have any buffs. It's really just for like non-curse aggro decks. This was the weaker part of the sideboard, I'll admit, so it might stay in there.
It was the Wild West of the format, though, right?
Countersword. Countersword's in every side. Some decks mean it. It's for Nova, but I also was putting it in against purple because purple, a big thing you could do was you could screw up their Baculus Curse Dragon combo. Usually they're paying exact mana, so the increments are if they have 2 purples on board, it's 10. If they have 1 purple on board, it's 12, and if they've none, it's 14. Usually they played at exact mana, so versus purple, you could put 1 back, and then that would actually screw up their map.
Because they don't have the cross reduction.
But other than that, too, you got a lot of tempo. Like, I mean, this puts a card to the top of their deck. Yes, you're trying to draw 4, but when you don't see the draw 4, this is a nice way to kind of just tempo them out, keep any of their guys off the board so you can kind of keep swinging and cracking. But the main reason is Nova. I mean, we all know that. It goes in against Nova. It's very powerful versus Nova. So I never countersword anyone, actually. It never happened. But
Did you play against Nova this weekend?
Who?
Nova?
I did. So I played Espira in top 16. I got a game loss, but we couldn't side game 2. And then game 3, he didn't see Nova. I don't think he saw Nova.
Okay, gotcha.
I can't remember, but I didn't see either way. I think I drew this, and I had another set card, and then I ended up setting it over my Bless, but I never actually got to activate it because he didn't get that far.
Gotcha.
Finally, Firewall. So let's talk about this a little bit, and even though I didn't side it in, I don't regret siding it. The arch nemesis is this deck, which it's not actually white. Well, it is white, but it's not the white deck you might think. It's actually the white aggro deck. There's a player in top cut who played this white aggro deck. It's faster than us. A lot of times versus this type of deck, especially if they have suppression or Absolute Ice Shield, in the main board, you need a way to stay alive. You're trying to play the control game because this deck is so fast, you're just trying to wall up against them. But luckily for you, all of their guys are 4,000 or less, and this is effectively a 2-cost Absolute Ice Shield
Mhm.
against that deck.
Yeah.
So they hit you, you get to pay the core, and it's reduced by 1, so it costs 3, so you get to pay the core. You bulk a guy up, so if they do have one guy who's bigger, he can't go through your wall. It's basically just another Absolute Ice Shield for this type of matchups. It's very good versus Curse Aggro too.
Mhm.
Curse Aggro's guys are all very small.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of those matchups come down to who finds more Ice Shields and Firewall type cards.
It does, yeah.
So while I didn't get to side this, I do not regret one bit actually siding this. So I think the most common cards I sided was Derm Dyna, the Nexus, because I played all white, and then the Giganorex. And I outside of that, I think I maybe sided Countersword. I never sided Suppression or Firewall. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's the deck.
Cool.
That's
Awesome. Well,
deck in a nutshell.
I really appreciate it. I know you've been talking about this deck for most of the last hour, so I'm not going to hold you more. Any more quick shout-outs before you end it off?
Let me start going down the list of teammates here real quick.
Yes.
So we'll start with my boy Ryan Valentino, the day 1 test partner. He was there. I called him up. I said, we're playing Battle Spirits, man, and he was there every day with me at practice. Joe Ray was the one who originally tried this deck in testing, and we just kept crunching it. Cody Williams, another great guy. He was there every single day testing with us. Colin Kaiser, who was in top 4, was there. Geez, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. My boy Jalen here, who...
Enough said.
Yeah, enough said. John Tata, he was there with us too, just like all from the beginning. We got Fino Black, James Silver, hell, I'll throw Bane's name in there just for the heck of it. And then, of course, my boy Anton Vahil, he came in at the end too, helped us out. So, it worked out well.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything all those guys did. Let me make sure, wait, before we go.
Okay, before we go.
Before we go, I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone's name, because they're going to be mad when they watch this video and see
This is where I just have like the cut in like overdub, like
yeah.
Steve.
You can fix this up. Nope, I named absolutely everyone.
Oh, nice.
That's
man.
awesome. I'll
Yeah.
even throw my brother in. Nick, thanks for doing nothing. No, but Nick's the type of guy, we hand him the deck, he always shows up and he always performs. So,
Cool.
I'm happy to have him on the team. So, but yep.
That's it. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much. I know you're probably exhausted and ready to relax.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, and I hope you guys catch us next time. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
yeah.